Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, April 5th. So we do have the moon in Aquarius energy going void, of course, at 1:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're locking into Pisces energy at 7:14 a.m. again, Eastern Standard Time. So the shift from Aquarius energy to Pisces energy is always a pretty dramatic one, seeing as we are moving out of the highest form of acting as the observer, the highest form of our intellect, the biggest, broadest perspective that we could even have, to down very deep, very, very deep into the feels. Pisces energy, of course, is a water sign, represents our emotions, our spirituality, our intuition, our dreams, our imagination. And so where we were emotionally detached in the Aquarius energy to allow us to act as the observer and see the greater, grander picture and perspective so that we could think outside of the box, outside of our emotions in order to see the areas in which we could improve, where we could do better, where it is that we could build something new. We dive all the way into our emotional realm in that Pisces energy, and that is usually the jolt of the energy shift that many of us experience when this transition takes place. So of course, we are hypersensitive in Pisces energy. We can get overwhelmed with a lot of the thoughts, a lot of the emotions, sensations that we are feeling with the moon in Pisces. But you best believe that we are trying to go with the flow. Now that may be a lot easier said than done with some of the different aspects that are coming at us. And of course, we just had Venus shift into Aries energy. So she is opening up a brand new cycle. There's a lot of aggression there, a lot of, I'm going to say, passion, desire fueling us to move forward. While the Pisces energy, along with Mercury, of course, retrograde, wants us to take a look back. The Pisces energy is just as much an ending as it is preparing for a new beginning. And we have a lot to heal, a lot to change, a lot to transform in our emotions and in our intuition, in our soul and our spirit before we're going to be able to jump into new chapters, which of course comes with the Aries energy. And of course, if you didn't know, we are about to have a new moon total solar eclipse in this Aries energy. So you want to talk about a fresh start. We have a fresh start with the Aries cycle. We have a fresh start with the new moon. We have a fresh start with the total solar eclipse. This is basically us throwing the old book out and willing to start fresh. And so this particular moon in Pisces transit is definitely going to help us wrap up a lot of the situations and circumstances, a lot of the, let's call it, wounds that we're not taking with us into this new chapter, into this new timeline. So it should be a very interesting dynamic for us to explore over the next couple of days. So with that being said, if we are counting Venus moving into Aries energy just as the day begins, then there are 10 aspects taking place here, with 9 of them involving the moon. However, technically, Venus shifted into Aries energy 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the 4th, which means that if we're going to get that technical about it, there's 9 different aspects taking place here today, which means all 9 are going to involve the moon, which is an interesting dynamic because that means that we're having another moon day, and Fridays are ruled over by Venus, and she is definitely starting a new chapter in this heart space. So it should be a very interesting, energetic ride through Friday, April 5th. So I hope you have your helmets on, your seatbelt tightly fastened. We are about to dive in. So again, just a reminder, Venus did shift into this Aries energy just as we were bridging the 1 minute difference between Thursday and Friday. Of course, I'm going to encourage you to take a listen to that astro forecast that I put out there for this event. If you did download your Aries Season E guide, I'm going to recommend that you capture what's going on in your life, in your circumstances at this particular point in time. And of course, if you want to know where Venus moving into Aries energy is going to have the most impact in your life, I am going to encourage you to download your April zodiac forecast, where all of that information is provided to you. So get Venus out of the way, and our very first event with the moon in Pisces energy is going to be a sextile, beautiful interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information communication, how it is that we express ourselves, who is currently retrograde, looking back, reflecting, revising, re-editing, redesigning, restructuring our thoughts, our ideas, our plans, our path, our strategy, and our image. And so our heart space, the moon, and our head space, Mercury, well, they're on the same page. They're getting along. They're talking to each other. And of course, the moon, still being in Aquarius energy, is an air energy. The Aries energy that Mercury is in is a fire energy, and that is about building creativity, building inspiration, building motivation, and applying logic and practicality on how it is that we're going to bring some of these visions to life. So this is the last aspect that the moon in Aquarius is going to make before going void, of course, again at 1:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When the moon is void, things are shaky, things are uncertain, things are unstable. We do have one aspect taking place while the moon in Aquarius is void, of course, which is a positive interaction with Neptune in his place of power in this Pisces energy. So this is going to help us, I'm going to say, refine and zoom in on the finer details that we're needing a little bit of clarity on what it is that we now want to do, what we want to pursue, what we want to build, what we want to create. Of course, this is about our imagination. This is about dreams and vision. This is about our spirituality, what it is that we're being called to actually initiate. Again, the moon in this Aquarius energy is focused on the big picture, and Neptune being in this Pisces energy needs us to align with a new mission, with a new purpose, with a new goal. Again, aligning with the higher self, with what it is that we're being called to do and pursue. So the moon shifts into the Pisces energy, again, 7:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The very first thing that we got going on with the moon in Pisces is a positive interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who just shifted into this Aries energy. This is the first aspect that she is going to make. So again, Venus being in this Aries energy, she has no want, need, or desire to look back. She's had a change of heart and therefore a change of values, a change of worth within herself, a change of priorities. She now in this Aries energy is not afraid to cut people off, to rearrange, restructure her physical realm to make it more happy, more joyful, more safe, more secure. This Aries energy, we have no desire to look back, which again, the moon in Pisces definitely wants us to look back because we have some things that we need to wrap up before we can actually move forward. So this is a positive interaction. It is showing us where it is that we're kind of cutting the cord, if you will, with certain concepts, certain ideas, but mostly certain emotions when it comes to friendships, romantic relationships, and just us interacting. Again, reminder, we're in eclipse season. This is about relationship dynamics. We have to let go of certain relationship dynamics with certain people in order for us to be a little bit more independent, for us to get to know ourselves, for us to actually pursue the wants, needs, and desires for our own individual mission. So we're starting to realize what needs to change. And this is a positive interaction, which means that this is going to be very easy for us to cut things off when normally speaking, we might have some resistance to doing so. This is essentially us, Venus being in this Aries energy, willing to rip the rear view mirror off of the car so that we're not looking back. We're only focused on what we want to do, where it is that we want to go, what it is that we want to pursue in moving forward. Now, the moon in Pisces is then going to semi-square the North Node in Aries energy prior to semi-squaring the Sun in Aries energy as well. And the semi-square applies a little bit of a tension and a conflict point in order for us to actually make a decision, make a choice, pivot, if you will, where we have the opportunity to grow. But the moon kind of interacting with the North Node, which of course is trying to get us on a new path, a path where we are a little bit more independent, where we are on a quest of a solo adventure to pursue our own wants, needs, and desires. This is illuminating for us where it is that, yeah, we might want to move forward, but if we don't clean up the residual energy of the past, if we don't provide closure, if we don't wrap things up now, they will come creeping back and ruin what could be a beautiful futuristic moment when the past knocks on our door again. So this is kind of saying, yes, we're ready to kind of, jump into something new, or we will be, because technically speaking, we're not being supported in doing that as of this moment. But we're kind of gaining perspective and momentum on where it is that we are going to be making these changes. But the moon in this Pisces energy needs us to wrap up some emotional, let's call them wounds, lessons from the past before we can actually start moving forward. The semi-square with the sun, of course, is going to bring forth a new aha moment, a new emotional awareness. The moon and the sun interacting is always going to pressurize us to see things differently, to feel a different way, to understand a different perspective, so we can actually, again, close the door on certain elements of the past and open the door to a new timeline, a new storyline, new chapter, new cycle. That again is the sun shining very bright in this Aries energy. We don't want to look back. We don't want to think about the past. We want to move on. We want to move forward. The moon in Pisces not going to let us do that. There's a push and pull, a tug of war going on, if you will. And again, the semi-square creates a little bit of tension and conflict in order for us to see where it is that part of us needs to, again, stop running from, stop avoiding certain aspects of the past, clean up that mess so that we can move on without these lingering residual energies connecting us to the old. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Pluto, the great transformer himself, in this Aquarius energy. This is going to be a major shift in our mood, in our attitude, in our perspective, in our understanding. It is showing us an intensity on where it is that we have an intuitive pull to either close the door on certain people, aspects, places, things of our past, and open the door by rising up in our power, understanding what we actually have power and control over, especially with the greater, grander vision of what it is that we now want to start building towards. We understand what needs to give, what needs to go in order for us to actually have a clean slate to start building towards something new. This is going to be an aha moment, unpacking, if you will, old memories, old emotions, old thoughts, old ideas that aren't going to serve us very well, not going to encourage us, not going to support us on this new quest, on this new mission, in this new journey. The moon is then going to semi-square, again, creating tension and conflict for a growth point with Chiron, the wounded healer, again, in this Aries energy, helping us to change, to transform, to rebrand, to anchor in to this new version of self. This particular aspect is definitely going to open up the wounds, expose the wounds. Why? Well, because the ego identity that we're currently building in and revamping and rebranding and really trying to get comfortable and familiar with, there's certain parts of the old version of self, the old realm and reality that the old version of self has created, that are still lingering. And so it is this particular point, because again, moon in Pisces is very hypersensitive. We need to really acknowledge the wounds, the pain, the trauma that we have been avoiding, that we have been 100% not wanting to confront head on. And in order for us to move into this new chapter, which again is being kicked off with this new moon total solar eclipse in Aries energy in just a couple of days, in order for us to actually have the, I'm going to say, cleanest slate provided to us to start fresh and to jump into something new, we have got to face the old pains, the old traumas, the old ways of looking at things and understanding, the old belief system, the old dreams, the old vision. And if that triggers some sort of element of grief or sadness, because again, we are kind of, waving goodbye to what has been a very, I'm going to say, tough experience, but has also gifted us with a lot of powerful life lessons, a lot of valuable skills, strengths, assets within ourselves. We still do have to say goodbye to it though, before we enter into this new chapter. So this is going to be kind of a wounded perspective of who it is that we've had to be in survival mode, really sitting in it, really absorbing all the different stages of the version of self that we had to go through in order to arrive at this moment. And sometimes that feels very uncomfortable. Sometimes that is a very painful process to actually reflect upon. We're not going to sit in that funk for very long. Lucky for us, the moon in Pisces is going to make a positive interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings in this Taurus energy. And if you know about elements, we love when specifically water and earth work together, but even more than that, Pisces energy and Taurus energy. Why is that? Pisces energy is imaginative and mystical and dreamy and creative and inspiring and very much in alignment with our higher selves, and we're kind of grasping a vision, a goal, a dream of what it is that we now need to pursue. And the Taurus energy, specifically because it rules over the physical body and the physical realm, that's how we bring some of these ideas, these goals, these visions to life. And so, Jupiter, he is the hype girl, I'm going to say, of the zodiac. He brings a certain level of optimism and confidence with him. He gives us the bigger, greater picture of what our options now are, opportunities now are for growth, for expansion, for switching things up and hopefully getting a different result in our life and our circumstances because of it. And emotionally speaking, because we're in this Pisces energy and we're going with the flow here, we're riding this wave until it decides to kind of crash down upon us. We are kind of dreaming the biggest dream possible. We are really kind of inflating our egos up, our confidence up, our self-esteem up, because we need to break out of the old negative Nancy narrative, of the pain and trauma of the old version of self, that old identity, in order for us to understand that it was our limiting beliefs that have kept us in the same old looping patterns and behavior. And now when we can break free from that, we see the options and opportunities that we wouldn't have been able to see if we hadn't have gotten out of our own damn way. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Pisces energy making a positive interaction with Uranus, the great awakener, who is in this Taurus energy. So same kind of vibe. We have the Pisces energy and the Taurus energy working very well with each other, trying to kind of manifest and bring the intangible in Pisces energy, again, ideas, creativity, inspiration, into the tangible, into the earth plane, into our physical realms, Taurus energy. The good thing is that Uranus, he's the great awakener. He likes to shock us. He likes to open up our mind. He likes to show us a different method, a different way of doing things. There's like a spontaneous change in our mood, in our attitude, and our perspective. And so emotionally speaking, we're gaining a lot of insight. We're gaining a lot of clarity. There's some aha moments popping off. There's some epiphanies popping off that we can't unknow. It's going to totally change not only the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see our physical realms and the way that we see the opportunities for growth and expansion and moving forward, but it's going to actually raise our vibration, raise our frequency in excitement or anticipation or inspiration, some sort of good juju, some sort of good vibe, in order for us to again override the old narrative, the old belief system, the old dream, the old goal, the old vision. And essentially this is us kind of, bringing a certain amount of closure to what once was, in order for us to clear the space, clean this slate, and prepare for now what is and what could be.